Hey guys, welcome to the third tutorial of this series. In this tutorial, we will see how we can use REST API in ReactJS to fetch the data from Laravel backend. We will keep it simple. I'll not use any database in this for now to keep this video as simple and as quick as possible. So we'll start off with writing an API in Laravel, which returns a list of countries around the world. So first of all, let's get our Docker containers up to run the project. So we are in React with Laravel that we created in our first and second tutorial. This video is in continuation with where we left off in the second tutorial. So if you haven't watched it yet, please, I would recommend to watch it first. So we'll go in Laradoc and spin up the Docker containers. Nginx and MySQL. MySQL is not needed, but I'm actually very used to of running this container. It's up to you, you can skip it. We will be using it from the next tutorials, however. So Docker containers are up, and oops, let's see if it's up. Yes, it is. So this is where we left off in the second tutorial. Yep, it works. So now we will have to write a small API in Laravel that will actually return a list of countries all around the world. So I have written it already in my project, and I will upload the whole project on GitHub. So and add this link in the description so you can go and have a look. So I've created a folder API inside controllers of Laravel. And inside API, I have created a controller called countries controller. What it does is it just has one index method, and it actually gets the query from the query string and searches for that query from this array and return all the matches as a JSON response. And if nothing is found, it will just return the complete array as a JSON response for this API. So all of the responses are in JSON, as you can see. So it's already done. Let's quickly test it first and see if it works as we're expecting it to work. So this is my API. Hang on. I also added a route for this in the routes. So all the API routes are in api.php. And that's by default prefixed as /API. So this is the route which I added for countries controller, which just says if someone asks for API/countries, go to API/countries controllers index method, which is this, and return whatever is in there. So pretty simple. Let's see if this works. Let's check it on Postman. So copy it, go to Postman, and paste it /API/COUNTRADS. It should return us all the countries as expected. There you go. So these are all the countries that are returned from this array, from this API, I mean. And if there is any query string named as query, and for example, AUS, so it returns two countries starting from AUS. Similarly, American Samoa, United States of America. So this is a small API that we developed. Now so step one is done. What we will do now is retrieve a list of countries around the world using GET request from the React client. Let's add Axios library first in your React project by doing yarn add Axios. After you do this, it should be coming in as your dependency in your package.json. So Axios is good. It's up. Now we can use it. I already have installed it. That's why I'm not doing it again. Let's go and write a. So that was step 3. Step 4 is create a component in React and call the REST API that is built in Laravel. So let's go and write a small component in React that will fetch the list of countries from this API. So React is here. Let's create a new component and call it as countries.js, and let's extend it from the pure component class, import React and pure component from React, and also import Axios, which we will be using from Axios. You'll see how simple is that. We will define a state. Which is, so we will have 2 variables in our state. First variable is a list of countries that will be coming up in from the API, and we will have a query that a user will type in. Initially it will be empty. So, and let's return something. So let's think about it. What will be the UI? So first there will be a div, all right, and we will have an input box inside a div that actually where the user will type a name of any country, and then there'll be a button which will say search, and this will just essentially on click event we will have a function, and on handle change event we will have a function. On change event we'll have a function here as well. So what this button will do, when the user type in something and click on search, that will go as part of the API request, and then the response, we will show response as a list inside our unordered list. So what we can do here is we will just map the countries. So let's get the countries from state, and we will just map the countries. What we'll do is we'll map the value that comes up from the API, and we'll return it as a list item. So return list item, and the value is val, and let's give it a key as well, otherwise it will throw an error on the console. So pretty simple, right? Input button and the list. Let's see how this looks first. So we will go to example.js. We haven't exported it yet. Yep, so it should be available here now. That's it. Build it first and then see how it works. Let's run watch, so it keeps on watching. Let's wait for the message. And oh, there is an error. Let's see what the error is. Okay, so currently there are no methods associated with any of the event. So let's remove it for now. We just want to see how it looks right now. So it's compiled. Let's see. There you go. So perfect. This is what we wanted. Let's get rid of these things. Or how about doing some styling? So we can import Bootstrap, an example. So I'll just remove what we don't need. And what I'll do is I'll import Bootstrap, which is by default installed. Yep, to get better styling in our project. It's built. There you go. It looks good. Better now, a lot better. So example component will be using calling REST API in React. Countries. It could be anything, to be honest. We also want to style this input box and the button from Bootstrap as well. So let's do that. So it's form control. So these are looks a lot better. I want margins. So what I'll do is I'll just create a small my style and say margin 2 pixel and everything, or maybe do 5, and then I'll give this my style. Oh, an error. I cannot use this here. There you go. Looks better. Well, actually, don't give this a style. I'm fine with it. Yep. Now what we will do, we have to have an input. So whatever user types in the input box, we need to save it in query. So let's create an onChange method as well, and this will be our handle input change event. So this will be our method, which actually gets this HTML element, and it just sets the state where it sets the query to target dot value. So this means that whenever user types in anything here, it will keep on saving in query, which we can use on buttons clicked. So now there will be one more method, handle search button click. What it will do is it will call an API using this state variable. So let's get the value first from the state. So query is what the user is asking for, and it's annoying. And here we will use Axios. Alright, so I like to use await and async. So I will do this is where we are calling the API from. So we will say await Axios request and this takes an config as a parameter, which is a JSON object. So this is saying await operator can only be used in async function. That's right. This function is not async right now. To make it async, job done. Very readable. This makes the code pretty readable. I like it better than promises because this makes it the code clean and readable as well. However, it is actually using promises in the backend, but we don't want to see that. Yeah. Await Axios request, it takes URL and it takes your method. So method is get, obviously, and URL is, let's copy the URL from Postman, which is this. This is the URL, but here we would like to pass on query. So we will use string interpolation. That's a good practice for string concatenation. And we will say query. That's it. So this will hit. So what this button will do? This button will hit this API and the response is in there. We want to set this response in this states countries variable. So how we can do that is we can just here set the state again, and we can say countries will be equal to response.data. That's it. So we know this will only go ahead once it gets any result from the request. See how easy it is to make a get request to any server. Yeah, so once we have the countries in here, it will be automatically mapped to the list. So let's see if this works as we are expecting it to work. Let's write France, FRA, search. Nope, no result. You know why? Because we haven't added the click event here, and that's expected. Handle search. I don't know why sometimes my intelligence just doesn't work. Oh, that's because of this watch. It's pretty annoying. Let's see if it works now. France. Well, why is this well? So looks like it's working, but instead of the actual value, we are getting well. And that's because this should be inside curly braces, and that's it. So France, Pakistan, India. Oh no, so there are lots of inside these. So it's working as expected. See how easy and quick it was to get what we wanted. So if you want to see how is this calling the API, you can have a look in the network panel. Blah. So it's making the request to this /API countries queries blah. There's nothing in response, empty array, there's nothing here. So thanks very much guys for watching this video. I hope it helped you. So next video will be coming up, which will consist of an API that uses a JSON web token to make it private, because the API which we just developed is public and can be accessed from anywhere, which is not a good approach. So stay tuned. In the next tutorial we will see how we can do authentication via API using React with Laravel. Thanks a lot. See you in the next video. Keep liking, keep commenting, and keep subscribing. Happy coding.